Explosions were heard in Russian Bryansk during the night of November 10th, followed by the activation of air defense systems in response to an aerial attack. Fires broke out in the area, and a military unit may have been targeted by drones, according to the Telegram channel of the governor of Bryansk region, Alexander Bogomaz, as well as Russian media and social media channels. Ukraine has seemingly struck the 1060th Center for Material Technical Support of the Russian Armed Forces in Bryansk. A Russian official reported the interception of an attack using aircraft-type drones on the region by air defense forces. Later, it was claimed that 15 drones were shot down in the sky over the area. The governor of Bryansk assured that there were no casualties or damage. However, numerous videos of a fire began circulating on Bryansk Telegram channels, with reports suggesting that the target of the air attack might have been a local military unit. By around 7 a.m. Kyiv time, the governor of Bryansk confirmed the information about the fire, but stated that as a result of a drone attack, non-residential buildings in Bryansk caught fire.
Смотрите, ребята, смотрите. Смотрите, парни, прямо над моим домом летит падла, блядь.
Also, unknown drones were spotted near Moscow. Russians report attack on the capital, according to the Moscow mayor Sergei Sobyanin. Sobyanin reported that 2 drones allegedly headed for Moscow were shot down over the Ramenskoye district. He later claimed that an additional 10 drones were destroyed. According to him, air defenses were active in the districts of Ramenskoye, Domodedovo, and Kolomna. A few minutes later, Sobyanin announced that another 13 drones had been neutralized. In total, Russian air defenses reportedly shot down 25 drones over the Moscow region. Moscow was attacked by 32 UAV this morning, according to Russians. Meanwhile, Russians shared footage online showing the drones in flight. Russian officials stated there were no casualties or damage reported. According to Russian media, Moscow's Vnukovo and Domodedovo airports implemented the carpet protocol, which is activated in cases of potential threats to aircraft or when a border breach is detected. Airport operations were restricted, with both airports temporarily halting all arrivals and departures. The network also reported that several fires broke out in the suburbs of Moscow after the explosions. Winter hasn't even started yet, but the Moscow region is already experiencing a flash mob for blackouts. The day before, a large-scale power outage occurred in Zvenigorod and nearby villages in the Moscow region. Cellular communications were poor. Street lighting and lights in apartments disappeared, and heating began to be interrupted. And this is without any shelling or missiles. One of the reasons could be the activity of the mining site located there, which is connected to the power station that supplies the city, but officially they only report malfunctions in the electrical equipment. It looks like Russia will once again face a wave of heating and power outages this winter. The outdated, dilapidated infrastructure can no longer cope with the load, but the money is not being spent on reconstruction. Russian partisans. On November 2nd, a partisan operation took place in the Luhansk region occupied by Putin's troops. In the village of Sabovka, on Sadovaya and USSR 60 years streets, houses where officers of the Russian army had settled were set on fire. One of the houses and an annex burned down completely. At the time of the fire, several senior officers, colonels and majors, were in the premises. Russian infantry and equipment are burning after repelling an assault on the Siversk direction. Border guards and fighters from the 10th Mountain Brigade hit a T-90M and BMP-2. The Battle of Siversk is crucial for Ukrainians as it acts as a defensive buffer for key cities in Donetsk. Holding Siversk prevents Russian advances deeper, maintaining strategic depth and buying time for Ukrainian forces to strengthen other frontline positions. A 62-year-old Russian soldier, a contract soldier, was thrown naked into a pit for forgetting his radio at his position. He has been there for 3 days already. If he sits for another 4 days and survives, he will be released. The main feature of the Second Army in the world is its unprecedented hatred and cruelty towards its own, who are massively zeroed out, tortured and disposed of in meat storms. Russian troops suffered significant losses during the assaults due to minefields that were installed in the Kursk region. A video of Russian equipment being blown up was published on the page of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. According to the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, in October alone, the Russians lost or damaged more than 20 pieces of military equipment in minefields. According to published information, Russian troops lost or damaged 7 of their armored personnel carriers, 7 infantry fighting vehicles, 1 Tiger armored vehicle, and 5 T-72 main battle tanks in October. These losses are primarily due to the absence of or poorly conducted engineering reconnaissance, which should be carried out with the involvement of engineering units to clear and detect mines. As a result of such disorganized actions, Russian troops suffer significant losses. In addition, in the face of insufficient engineering intelligence, the armed forces of Ukraine are actively mining possible offensive routes using drones that drop mines on a certain territory. Recently, the soldiers from the 36th Marine Brigade and the 1st Tank Brigade repelled a Russian assault in the Kursk region. Having prepared their positions, the soldiers of the 1st Brigade mined the direction in which the enemy was supposed to advance to the positions of the Ukrainian military. Despite the significant advantage of the Russians in the number of armored vehicles, the armed forces units organized a competent defense that the enemy is unable to overcome in small groups that it sends to their deaths without appropriate engineering intelligence. Earlier, Militarny reported that the 59th Separate Motorized Infantry Brigade, named after Yakov Handziuk, together with the 21st Separate Special Forces Battalion from the Presidential Brigade, stopped a mechanized assault of the occupiers on the southern outskirts of Krasnohorivka using non-standard mining. During the battle, an enemy's main tank, which was equipped with a modern Russian TMTK trawl, hit a mine. This led to the halt of the assault column and its subsequent destruction. The U.S. is urgently sending Ukraine over 500 interceptor missiles for Patriot and NASAMS air defense systems, reports WSJ. They are expected to arrive in the coming weeks to meet Ukraine's air defense needs by the year's end. Dialogue between President Zelensky and Trump is already established, and a meeting is being prepared, says Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha.